Yes.
You've had a few opinions in your life.
A few.
Do you worry sometimes you're going to go on television, it's live, you don't have anyone in your ear, you're going to say something, and then you're going to go down in a ball of flames?
Everybody expects it.
Yes, if that's when
Be
they.
nice.
If you ask people, how's Cherry going to go out? Ball of flame.
Train wreck or something like that, eh?
Yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matt. Welcome to the Sin Bin. This is a very special episode. It's the Remembrance Day episode. And I think it's safe to say, this Remembrance Day, it's going to be one to remember. Because we had some very, very troubling informations. Don Cherry, the legend himself, has been fired from Sportsnet. He's been fired from Rogers. In case you guys don't know, this is a hockey show. We go on our live streams every Monday, 9 p.m. You guys can check the other episodes. We talk about everything in the world of hockey. Everything and anything. Now, this is such a big news. I didn't want to just skim over it. I didn't want to talk about it 5 minutes and then boom, we're done. No. This deserves its own episode. This deserves its own special. This is humongous. If you go on Twitter, if you go on Facebook, if you go on X social media platform, everyone's talking about this. Even if they're not a sports channel, they're talking about this. This is huge news. And we're not going to do any different. I am joined here with the one, the only, Jake Link. How are you, buddy?
Good, by the way. Everyone thinks that my name's Chaz Bono.
Well, they're going to think it. And I'm also here with Scotty from the channel Scotty 2 Hockey. How are you, Scotty?
How's it going, bud?
It's going well. Actually, that's a lie. I'm doing pretty horrible. I don't know if you guys listen to to my other videos. Don Cherry, he has a special place in my heart. I'm not going to lie. As ridiculous as that sounds, I really do like the guy. And it really bothers me that he's fired. I'm not going to lie. I think we can just go and dive right into it. Let me just say that when I made this YouTube channel, when I make the hockey podcast, it's very hard to do this on my own. So I just wanted to thank these guys. I just wanted to thank them for being able to talk with me, to have someone to talk with. I wouldn't be able to do this if not for you, persons, you people. You people. Okay.
That is the plural for people.
That's the word you're looking for.
That's the word. I'm sorry. I know it's an offensive thing nowadays, but I could not do it without you people.
Oh, I didn't get that at first, the whole people thing. I was just wondering why you were saying it like that. I was like, does he not know the word people?
Yeah. Okay, so
I am offended. That is not what I go by. I sexually identify as a choo-choo train.
That's a pretty good thing to sexually identify as.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start off with Jake, and then I'm gonna throw it off to Scotty. Before we get into what you think, before we get into your opinions, let me just ask you, where were you when you received the news that Don Cherry was fired? Jake, where were you and how did you feel?
Oh my God, you're talking about it like 9/11.
Just answer the damn question.
That's what you're referring to. Where were you? Yeah. The Kennedy assassination and an old man getting fired. They're all in the same area.
Well,
so
for me,
I was at work. I was at work and I got a frantic message from you, and then I looked it up. That's where I was.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Now, Scotty, where were you when you learned the news that Don Cherry was fired, and what was your initial reaction?
I was on the way to the grocery store, and the second I heard that Don Cherry was fired, the bags went on the floor, the coat came off, and I went right to the computer and got 646 views off that old man. So,
oh, good one.
So far.
Good one.
I'm a Habs fan. Well, me and you are Habs fans. I've never been a Don Cherry fan, but man, this is a hot topic, so I was jumping all over that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I also, as much as I hate it, it kind of benefited my channel too. But I still, if I could have Don Cherry now today, still working for Coach's Corner, I would do it. To answer my question, where was I when I first found out about it? So, like most of the minutes in my day, I'm on the toilet and I'm going through my phone, and I receive a message from my cousin Philip, He says, "Man, I'm so pissed about this. I thought he was just talking about the uproar, about Twitter's reaction, about just everything going on." So I'm like, yeah. But then I go through his comments some more. I go through his message. He says, "Rogers just fired Don Cherry." And I gotta tell you, I'm happy I was on the toilet at that moment because I would have shit my pants. That was devastating news for me. And I'm not too happy about it. I think that I'm going to let the floor go to you guys because I've made hours upon hours of content. So I'm going to start with Jake. First of all, Jake, we know the comments. Yeah. Actually, I think I still have them, actually. Yeah, there you go. The comments that Don Cherry said, in case you're under a hermit crab, this is what he says. "You people, you love our way of life. You love our milk and honey. At least you can pay a couple of bucks for a poppy or something like that. These guys paid for our way of life that you enjoy in Canada. These guys paid the biggest price." So, Jake, when you first hear about those comments, is this something that's offensive to you? Is this something that bothers you? Or are you more so on the side that, hey, people are overblowing this?
Okay, I think both sides are overblowing it. I think Don's a little bit he's blowing things way out of proportion.
Yeah.
And he's filling the stereotype of being a crazy old man who says crazy old man things.
Right.
But I also think that that the media, is overblowing it. Don Cherry wants everybody to wear a poppy in Canada. I'm not Canadian. I'm American. I'll get that right out now. I'm from New Jersey. I've never left the States. So this is a Canadian thing, but putting in my 2 cents, him saying every single person should wear a poppy isn't freedom. You have the choice to not wear a poppy, and if you don't support the military, then, you have every right to not support the military. Do I agree with it? No. My father was a Navy vet. My grandfather served in World War II. My other grandfather served during the Korean War. I agree. I really, I would wear one, but there would be a time I probably just want to say, man, oh shit, that's today. Okay. I don't have a poppy, if I was Canadian, because I know it is a Canadian thing. So I just kind of think like he's, both sides are, I think him overreacting to not seeing everybody wearing a poppy, people don't wear suits anymore everywhere either, Don.
Oh, okay.
That's not even a slight on the suits. I love the suits, but in the 30s and the 40s and stuff, people wore suits everywhere. People wore suits fucking going to baseball games. Nobody wore shorts. Everybody looked hot and uncomfortable. Yeah, probably. Yeah, having sex.
You see,
Let
Jake,
me take my hat off, madam.
I agree with you about the hat. No, I agree with you about what you said, though. But when I look at the comments, I don't feel like he was pointing a gun at their head and saying, you have to wear the poppy. What I think, I compared it in my video to standing for the national anthem. You don't have to stand. You don't have to remove your baseball caps and your hats. You don't have to. But you can get criticized if you don't do it. You're very open to criticism. I feel like Scotty's chomping at the bit to get in here. So, Scotty, when you look at those words I put up there, when you look at them, what do you think? What's your opinion? Do you think he crossed the line? Do you think he
the very first thing I thought when I heard Don Cherry say that, I could just picture some black guy at his house saying, "What the fuck do you mean, you people?" about to throw his remote to his TV.
Yeah.
And other than that, I think people are just blowing it way out of proportion. Like, people are way too soft these days. I literally seen a guy on the media on the news yesterday, a Middle Eastern guy, holding up a picture of his dad who served in World War II, talking about how offended he was by Don Cherry. It's a poppy, man. If you don't want to buy a poppy, that's fine. They're only 25 cents. Apparently, they're having trouble selling poppies. They can't sell them like they used to, and it goes to a really good cause. your choice to wear a poppy or not. And Don Cherry is old school. I guess the way he said it came across as racist, but I honestly just looking at it a few times, I think it's just the way Don Cherry says things. I don't think he meant to direct it at immigrants. I don't think he meant it as a racist comment.
Yeah.
It's just the way Don Cherry speaks. And a lot of people think Don Cherry's an asshole anyway, so they're looking to pick out any little thing he does to use it against him. But, man, if they wanted to fire Don Cherry, all they got to do is go back and look at clips from the 80s, some of the things he said about Russians and stuff like that. He's said way worse things than this, and it's never come up.
Oh,
but he
dude.
says this one little thing in this PC culture, this snowflake generation that's going on right now, and all of a sudden everybody's up in arms, and they're firing a living legend from Sportsnet, from Hockey Night in Canada. So now guys like us who are hardcore hockey fans, who love watching Hockey Night in Canada, who look forward to Coach's Corner, got to see Ron McLean with some bland asshole like Sid Seixeiro or Jeff O'Neill or whoever they gets to replace him. Because you're not going to replace Don Cherry. You're not going to bring in that old school, tough, former coach mentality. Whether you like him or whether you hate him, he was a mainstay in Hockey Night in Canada. It was tradition every Saturday night in my house to watch Don Cherry on Hockey Night in Canada, and these assholes got him fired, and I'm not pleased about it personally. I'm not going to cry over nothing like that. I'm a Habs fan. I've never been a big Don Cherry fan. I do love his suits. I do love his style. I hate the fact that he loves the Leafs and Bruins, but he's a mainstay on Hockey Night in Canada, and the fact that this is what got him fired kind of turns my stomach. If you wanted to get him fired, you could have went back and got clips from the 80s, and everybody would have been up in arms. But they see one thing in this generation, and all of a sudden, all these people are home. Black people are throwing remotes to their TVs. Middle Eastern people are throwing TVs out of their windows. Everybody's up in arms, and Don Cherry's fired. It's fucking ridiculous, in my opinion.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah.
Black people don't watch hockey.
So, hey, that's a lie. I got one black friend, and he's a New York Islanders.
It's the
really?
entire Subban family that does.
Yeah.
Jake,
Yeah.
I feel like you wanted to retort there for a minute. Why don't you go ahead?
I'm trying to remember what I wanted to say. I did want to get that joke in.
Well, in the meantime, let me tell you, there was this post on Facebook. I told it to Jake before we went on air. What this post said was, after 30 years of saying the most offensive stuff, after 30 years of saying the most outrageous stuff, it's telling people to wear a poppy that finally brought him down. You got to understand, and this says a lot about the world we live in. Don Cherry, he once said this, and I quote, "Europe, it's a nice place to visit, but stop sending us your hockey players." I mean,
You do a good Don Cherry.
You do a great Don Cherry. Yeah, you're almost as good as my Mike Babcock. But hey, what I was going to say was the thing that he said, "you people," gave them a really good headline. And when they put that in the media, when they put the "you people" headline in quotes, that was it. His fate was sealed. Because I was watching the news yesterday, and they were saying the Sportsnet head office, the production guys were speaking to him. They warned him. Soon as I seen these guys in the media, that Middle Eastern guy holding up a picture of his dad who served in World War II, talking about how offended he was, I knew Don Cherry was in hot water. I didn't know if he'd get fired, but it's that "you people." When he said "you people" and they got that headline off and they got that quote, they could put that out there as clickbait. That was it. That sealed Don Cherry.
The only thing I could compare that to is Don Imus when he went on Al Sharpton's radio show, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I just don't know what to say to you people," and he's like, "What do you mean by you people?" And he's like, "Oh, just you in general, you know." So, but I actually, what's funny? Who I think could replace Don Cherry?
You tell me.
I mean, you can never ever replace Don Cherry, but who could come and I actually think Sean Avery.
Sean Avery, that would have kind of be wild though, because Sean Avery has no filter in what he says either, and he's a nasty player. He's a greasy guy. So I don't know. A lot of people hate Sean Avery, but a lot of people love him. I personally like Sean Avery. A lot of people hate him. I personally like him.
I'm a Devils fan, so that's why I hate him. So,
no, it makes sense that you hate him.
No, dude.
But
I think the whole segment's gonna dissipate. Don Cherry is unreplaceable. Let me just say this. Let me tell you, kids.
He gets fired to save the day.
You do realize that this controversy is coming from a 5-minute show.
I know.
That It's just insane. Like, what the hell else is going on in Canada?
Nothing.
Man, Ron McClain made it so much worse after the show with his tweet, too. Ron McClain tweeted out right after the show, "I'm so sorry for Don Cherry's comments. I should have handled myself better. I should have been better in that situation." So he basically called Don Cherry out on it before anybody even said anything and blew it up.
Scott, thanks for bringing that up, because I made a phone call to my dad where we both talked, because we both love Don Cherry, and we talked about the firing, and I actually recorded it, and I asked him if I could put it up, and he said yeah. Apparently many years ago, Don Cherry, Ron McClain was in Don Cherry's position. So Ron McClain, he did something controversial. I don't have the exact specifics. I need to do more research. And when that happened, Don Cherry had his back. He went to them. He said, "Don't fire them. Don't fire Ron." So the fact that today, now that Don is in a pickle, and Ron, not only does he not stand by him, he goes on Twitter and takes a shit all over his friend.
This spineless little troll.
All over his
Man, the
compatriot.
one thing I got to say about that Ron McClain is, I'm not going to say he hates Don Cherry, because none of us know what he really thinks of Don Cherry. But if you've had a guy speaking over you for 30 years or however long it's been, and you've always been second fiddle to him, you've never been able to get a word in edgewise compared to him, and he's always stole the show, a show that you've also been on for 30 years. You're telling me Ron McClain doesn't have some kind of bias against Don Cherry? Because when he did that, he knew what he was doing. He knew the backlash it would cause, and I 100%, along with this stupid "You People" headline, contribute that to why Don Cherry got fired. Because when I seen that,
hold on, if he does,
that's what alerted me to it. That when I seen that tweet from Ron McClain, I seen it on my Twitter. I was like, "What is he talking about?" And then I went to watch Hockey Night in Canada. Then I saw it, and I realized what the controversy was about. So that's how I got on it.
If that's the case, though, I gotta say, Ron McClain is a bigger idiot than he looks. Him and his small head. I mean, if he's angry because Don Cherry keeps talking over him, who the hell watches Coach's Corner for Ron McClain? Are we just like, I can't wait to watch Coach's Corner. I can't wait to hear Ron McClain's monotone takes.
I guarantee you there's old ladies out there right now watching this stream being like, "I love that young man. How dare you?" I guarantee you right now there's some old lady out there shaking her finger at you right now being like, "How dare you?" Ron has plenty of fans. Yeah. But yeah, it's the Don Cherry show. We all know that.
Yeah. Ron McClain is like Ringo Starr of Hockey Night in Canada.
No, man.
And
like
Don
George
Cherry's the
Evans.
three others.
Yeah.
Dude, hold on.
And Yoko Ono.
Yeah.
That
Brett
fucking-
Yasley is Yoko Ono. I gotta say though, I personally, I have a really thick skin. I mean, a lot of people in our entourage, they'll say it. I say stuff sometimes, it's offensive. But on the flip side, I don't really get offended that easily.
No, he does not.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that right off the bat. I gave, the nicknames I've given Matt, and like he should not be talking to me. Like right now, the nicknames that I've given him. I've given him the name Matty Isis, Mecha Matt. I told him in a roast that when a jihad is done, Matt is proof that not all 72 virgins would be women.
Yeah, like I've shown
And
it.
in a roast, anything goes, though.
Anything
Greg Giraldo once told Gary Busey he looked like he got ran over by a truck about like a year after he got ran over by a truck. So anything goes in a roast.
When I say I have a thick skin, I might not be the best person to judge this right now, but I really do think if you're going to say that "you people" is racist, which I don't think it's racist. For example, when we were kids, and say my sister and we took a pair of scissors and we like cut up the tablecloth. My dad comes in, he says, "Oh, what's wrong with you people?" And it's not like I was there, "Oh, what do you mean you people?" No, I don't get offended that easily, but even if you were to say "you people" is racist.
That was a little girl when he was a kid. What do you mean, you people?
Look who's talking, Chaz. I
Touche,
really do
motherfucker.
think,
Ouch. Ouch.
I really do think racism, it's kind of like autism. There's a spectrum. There's a difference between saying the N-word and saying like, oh, black people are always late to class. Like, they're not the same thing. One is much, much, much worse. And if you look at that at the spectrum level, if Guinea and the N-word, if they're up there, you people, it's not even at 5. It's not even at 3. For me, it's at 0.001. So you
think
just
you
fired
people is like
a
the
legend.
Asperger's of racism.
Another thing that makes no sense to me. Another thing that makes completely no sense to me as to why Sportsnet did this is their ratings are going down the toilet. They just let a bunch of people go this summer. They just let Bob McCowan go. They let I forget the other guy's name, John Shannon go. They've let a bunch of important people go from Sportsnet because their ratings have been down, especially when it comes to hockey. And now their biggest thing, Hockey Night in Canada, one thing they have rights to, that's like their biggest thing. They fired the main guy from it, and that's going to go down the tubes too. Yeah. So I don't know what Sportsnet was thinking there.
Oh no, honest to God,
they murdered TSN in the ratings. You look how good TSN is doing. Everybody watches Overdrive. Everybody wakes up in the morning and watches SportsCenter. Who's going to get up and watch fucking SportsNet after this shit? Who wants to see those assholes talk after what they did to Don Cherry?
Not me.
So are you guys not going to boycott Sportsnet?
I'm signing a petition.
I'm not going to boycott it. I'm just not going to watch that shit ever again.
I'm signing a petition.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like stand outside Sportsnet with a sign.
No, that's picketing. That's picketing.
Okay, not bad.
I mean, if I were in the area, I would. Dude, hold on. I implore you guys, if you don't like what they did to John Cherry, like, I feel that all three of us were on the same boat. We don't like that he got fired over something that dumb. Fucking PC era. If you don't like it, how do you get back at Sportsnet? It's not by going on Twitter and saying, Sportsnet is a bunch of poo-poo heads. They read that, they don't care. You get back... hold on. You get back at Sportsnet by not watching it. Right now, I have the NHL app. I have the option in certain games to watch either RDS, to watch either TSN, or to watch Sportsnet. I'm not going to click Sportsnet. Fuck! The only reason I would click them before was because of Don Cherry, and now Ron Cherry's gone. What am I going to do?
You just call him Ron Cherry.
Ron Cherry.
Oh, did I? I get them mixed up sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
My dad was calling Ron McLean Don McLean. The guy who sings "Bye Bye Miss American Pie."
Man, I was watching the fantasy draft when you were asking your dad about all these players. Like, did you ever hear of Jake Link? And your dad was like, "No, is he any good?"
I don't even remember.
I was like, no. I was telling you to ask him about me. And...
Oh boy. Okay, let's look at the chat. We got David Arthur. He says, "Hey Matt, Scotty, and Shez Bono."
My best subscribers.
Yeah, Brian Donovan's here. He said, fired for being too Canadian. I agree with you. Mr. Monkey Fizz.
If you ask me, that's a good reason to fire somebody, though.
He says, sucks they fired him. Joe says, what a long day it's been. Some more lady problems. Could use a live stream to fix me up today. I had just woken up when I heard of it. Oh, dude, you sound like you gotta get fucked. You sound like me when I first met Jake. You have to download.
Yeah, no. By the way, for the record, I didn't have sex with Matt, and he didn't get his confidence. That's not what he meant.
That's what it sounds.
It's not like, hey, come here, I'm gonna get you some confidence. And he said, no, thank you. Like,
I kind of feel Joe though, because this is the second time Joe has told us he's had lady troubles. Because he once said in a live stream before, one me and you and Rick were doing, he was having lady troubles. So Joe, hit up POF. Hit up Kinder, whatever the fuck it's called. And if you're into dudes, hit up Grindr. Find yourself a good woman, man. You can do it.
Grindr is where they're all at.
Yeah. Whatever you're into. Whatever they identify as. If you identify as a refrigerator, go find yourself a beautiful refrigerator. Whatever you got to do.
Whatever you people do.
Go out with a refrigerator and make sure to put the meat in the fridge.
I'm just kidding. I love Joe. He's a subscriber of mine. He got thick skin.
Joe is great. Joe is great. He puts the best comment. I feel like we agree on everything. Not like some other people where we'll disagree. We agree with everything. And if you have lady problems, dude, I think we've all had lady problems. Maybe even some people on the stage right now, they're going through lady problems. You've come to the place. Forget
When
the
you
women.
say that some people are going through lady problems, we all have our
people that you're talking, referring to you.
This is the
I have
place.
I'm having a lady problem. It's called I'm married.
I have even worse baby problems to call them engaged.
Yeah.
I have to find a way out before it happens.
Zach,
No,
okay,
I'm sure she's a good girl.
hold
Oh, I
on.
love her.
Zachary Hakolt, he says, do you think Coach's Corner will still be a thing? Scotty, do you think Coach's Corner will still be a thing?
I think they will try and keep it going. They'll try and bring in a replacement, but just the backlash alone, like for the first month or so, I think their ratings are going to be so horrible that they're going to have to pull Coach's Corner off the air. And without Don Cherry there, who knows? Ron McClain may retire too, because he's getting up there too.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I don't imagine a Coach's Corner without Don Cherry. I mean, he's the coach! Who are you going to get?
Have they ever had a replacement for Don Cherry before? I honestly can't remember, like, thinking back to it over the years. I think they have, but has Don Cherry ever missed Coach's Corner and they've had a replacement for him? I thought I'd seen Kelly Rudy do it before.
I feel
I
like
could
they've
be out
had
of
a
my mind.
replacement for Ron a little bit, but not
Yeah,
Don.
I think it was
But
Ron.
nobody would care. Like, you could put a fucking broom with a fucking hat on it and you'd be like, oh, you know? Like, just in that clip, he's just sitting there just staring into space, you know?
That he always does that.
Doing weird shit with his hands.
Do you guys? Oh well, not Scott, but Jake. Do you remember when we were on Shot from the Point? Tommy would play this clip from Coach's Corner.
I don't know.
Computer. I'm watching it on YouTube right now, and it's
so-
fine.
Oh, okay. I think we're
Still
good.
good.
I think we're good. I think it just lagged a little bit. On Shot from the Point, Tommy had this clip of when the Montreal Canadiens they raised Guy Lapointe's number.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, Guy Lapointe, great player. I'm glad they didn't wait till he was dead to do it." And Ron McClain just makes this awkward silence. And Ron McClain just like, "Oof, yeah." Oof.
Do you remember the one time they were talking about female reporters going into the locker room?
No.
And I guess Ron McClain has a daughter. I go, would you be okay if a man reporter went into the locker room? And he'd be like, and Ron McClain was just so high hung on his social justice warrior horse. And he was like, yes, I would have no problem with it. And then Don just went off on a whole tirade about
Holy
why he
shit.
should, yeah.
Yeah, if Ron McClain wants to send his daughter into a locker room full of half-naked hockey players,
Yeah.
good luck with that. I hope you're hoping for a son or a daughter-in-law soon, or
dude.
whatever it's.
I personally, I don't really mind because I've said the story of how I had to change my ass gauze every day. So a lot of people have seen me naked.
I've never heard that story, and I don't want to.
In last week's episode.
I had a.
I've watched a lot of your episodes, but I didn't hear that story. But
Yeah.
did you guys ever find the gay guy to do the NHL beauty pageant after?
No, why? Are you coming out?
No, I've already offered. I've already offered to be an undercover fake gay guy for you guys.
Can you do your gay voice? Say
Oh,
hold-
this isn't the gay voice?
this-
Fuck with
No,
it.
this isn't the gay voice.
say Max Domi is fabulous.
Max Domi is fabulous.
A little bit forced.
What?
Yeah, it is forced. My gay voice is
All right.
terrible with my
All
accent.
right, hold
But
on.
when I'm drunk, it's on point.
Hold on. Let's-
Whoa, hey.
hold on. Hold on. Let's bring it down a notch. Jake, you were talking about the naked people in the locker room. As I said, I've been naked a lot of times in front of a lot of people. It doesn't mean I necessarily like it. If I were in the locker room, I would feel a little self-conscious if I saw a really hot reporter and she's coming in and she sees that afro on my ass and my uncut wang. Like, how am I supposed to feel? Seriously. But
She would go, hey, PK, what do you think? Oh, never mind. That's just Matt's ass. PK, I think it's time to get a haircut.
Scott's dying.
Gotta love
I
PK.
don't know. Why is Black Cousin It in here?
What if it answered you?
Hold on. On Coach's Corner, though, you know how I said this isn't even the worst thing he said. In 2001, I believe, They stopped talking about hockey for a moment. They started talking about the Iraq War. And
Oh,
Don
shit.
Cherry was saying, we should send our troops in there. We should support the Americans. We should go fight the Iraq War because Americans are our allies. And then Ron McClain, he has enough. He says, I'm not just going to stare into that good night. I'm going to argue back. So he argues back. The whole Coach's Corner was this entire argument on the Iraq War. And they have these earpieces and they're telling him, like, guys, cut it, stop it, talk about hockey, let's get off this topic. And they don't care. They keep going. And they said, Don Cherry has said, I've never been so sure I was going to get fired than after that episode. If you want to try to find that episode nowadays, you can't. The CBC,
You know why he didn't get fired?
Hold on. The CBC, they completely banned that episode. They received.
You could find the enactment
Oh.
from the Don Cherry movie.
You could see it in the Don Cherry movie. That's right.
Yeah.
The guy does a good job, the actor. What were you saying, Scott?
I said the reason why he didn't get fired in that situation is because in the media at that time, it was all heavily aimed towards the Iraq War. Everybody was reading about the Iraq War. Right now, there's no big, huge stories going on. There isn't a war going on currently. There's no other headline you can put up that's going to block that out. The main headline in sports right now, especially in Canada, is about Don Cherry.
Yeah.
But
Joe, he says, I actually have a girlfriend. It's just we argue a bit, on and off relationship. Oh, dude, I'm sorry to hear that. But I think every relationship you argue. There's no such thing as a relationship where you're fun and happy all the time. Right, Jake? Am I right?
Hell yeah.
Man, I argued pre this live stream. My girlfriend was like, "You're going to do a live stream?" I thought we were
Yeah.
watching a movie. What the fuck? And then there was a big argument, and I was like, "Man, Don Cherry just got fired. I'm not missing this piece."
Yeah. Maybe, Joe, I hate to say it because it's going to take away from my viewership, but maybe you're watching too much hockey. Your girlfriend, she doesn't feel loved. You know what you have to do? There's a study that says that girls, the best way they like to wake up is through oral sex. One day, slip down the covers and give that girl the biggest tongue lash you can give her. Because I'm going to tell you, you're French Canadian, I believe. French Canadian women, I don't know what's in the water. They are just absolutely gorgeous. They are absolutely gorgeous women. You have to treat your trophy girlfriend like she's a trophy girlfriend. That's what I got to say. Jake, what do you have to say?
I have to say, be careful, and depending on how mad she is at you, she might just fucking knee you in the face.
I was going to suggest breakfast in bed, but Matt's idea sounds great.
Yeah,
to
no,
me.
he's getting breakfast in bed.
Looks like tuna for
And she didn't even have. She don't even got to work for it.
Yeah. I mean, that would just make her so happy. D. Linz, he says, hello, D. Mr. Monkey Fizz, he says, gay. That word offends me.
Oh man, the live chat is killing me here.
Oh, yeah. Prague Rocker says, fuck Sportsnet and PC culture. Grapes is the man. Grapes is the man. We have not seen the last of Grapes. I turned my view on this. I really thought that he's not going to do another episode. He's not going to, like, do a podcast or something like that, like Ron Burgundy. He's just going to die. No, I really think he's going to make a comeback. Whether it be on TSN or whatever it is. I don't think we've seen the last of Grapes. Grapes is going to have his wrath. It's going to be the wrath of Grapes.
I think he could do like a Brian Burke type thing, like not with Sportsnet obviously, but he could be a guy who comes in on certain shows as like an analyst, gives his opinion, the way Brian Burke comes in on Tim and Sid sometimes, and you'll see Brian Burke on Hockey Central at noon and stuff like that. Like he doesn't have a permanent position in the media; he just comes in and out as like an expert and analyst and guy who's like an older guy that knows his stuff.
Yeah,
I kind of think I have a feeling. I was saying this to Matt before we did the show that I have a feeling Don Cherry might be very, very sick, and that this was the way that he wanted to go out. That he wanted to go out guns a-blazing to all the social justice warriors. And, like, we're going to find out in 2 weeks that he only had, like, a couple more weeks to live. And this is the way he wanted to go out. was just saying, "Oh, you got to support the troops," and then all of a sudden he's just, boom, he's gone. You know,
they gotta make...
interesting fact. Me and Don Cherry actually share a birthday.
Yeah.
Not in the same year, though.
I hope not. Chaz Bono's a lot younger than Don Cherry.
Yeah.
Hold on. If that's the case, and he did this all to go guns a-blazing in the wave of social justice, there has to be a third part to the movie, because right now the movie, it's a two-parter. The first one is Keep Your Head Up, Kids. The second part is called the Wrath of Grapes. What would the third part be called? Fine Wine? What should it be?
Get your poppies, kid.
Let's see. Where was I? Joe says, I remember the Don Cherry movie. Great movie. I think it was the actor from Letterkenny. Yes, it was. Great actor. I think he was
the actor from Letterkenny?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think he was a little bit too good looking for Don, but still. He did great. He got the character down perfect.
The Don Cherry movie. You're talking about the CBC one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Zachary Hakolt.
I've been trying to watch it, and I can't get it like on any streaming service or even like illegally.
It's probably harder to get in the States than what it is in Canada. I seen it on CBC. That's how I watched it.
Yeah. You want to know something? I shed a tear when his wife dies.
It's a shame. It is in real life. When his wife died, it was really emotional too. He didn't hide that. He didn't like. That's another thing about Don Cherry. He's open. He's out there. He didn't shy away. Like when his wife died, he didn't take a bunch of time off. He talked about it on the air. He came and got all emotional about it. He's a hardened old school guy, but at the same time, he does wear his heart on his sleeve sometimes too.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a Don Cherry fan, but there's certain things about him I do like.
Yeah, it's really sad actually, because his wife. It was his only friend, because he has said it many times. I will not make friends in the business, because if I make friends, I can't criticize them. What type of friend criticizes another friend? And in the movie, which is all based on real facts, it was written by his son. It was produced by his son, Del Cherry, or Tim Cherry. He says, you see Don Cherry, he's traveling from city to city. Back in the day, the travel was really, really bad. The players, they had to live in hotels, and he said that he knew when the day before he gets traded, he has to go to the groceries to fill up the fridge for his wife, so he doesn't leave her on an empty fridge. He said sometimes if he was traded too far away, like was the case when he got traded to Three Rivers, his wife had to stop everything she was doing. If she made friends in the community, she had to leave the friends and follow him to Three Rivers. And he said this, and he said, as God is my witness, she never complained once. And the scene where she passes away, it's such a powerful scene, because you see a man who's voided of any friends. She's his only true friend. She's the only person he hangs out with. And then she dies, and the following scene, he's sitting on a park bench alone, and he's just staring at the park with his dog. It's heart-wrenching. If
Man, it was really sad when his dog died too. Didn't his dog die a couple of years back too? That was
maybe.
I heard something about his dog dying.
Actually, the McFarlane figures. They have the McFarlane of Don Cherry with his dog.
What's McFarlane? The Family Guy?
No. McFarlane is they make like certain like action figures.
Oh yeah.
Keep talking.
They make all like the plastic hockey figurines too. They make like the raw. I got one in the bedroom. It's a Michael Rotter one. They made that too.
Oh, dude, I'm buying this. Hold on.
The Don Cherry one, yeah.
Okay,
dude,
folks.
I'm sure it's just.
Let's see this. Oh my God, and it's signed. That's incredible.
Dude, there's like tons of them, like different ones, like for the Devils they have Scott Stevens, they have Martin Brodeur, they have, yeah.
Well, I can
see him there now. Yeah, they're nice.
I've been thinking of getting them just as like decoration I can put on the table. Zachary Hakolt, he says, do you think Dustin Byfuglien will return for the Jets? Going off topic here, no.
No.
It's possible. I'm going to have to say no, because when you hear Justin Byfuglien speak, he doesn't just sound like a guy who's been a lot when it comes to concussions and ankle issues. He sounds like a guy who's lost the love of the game. And that is... Oh, fuck. Sorry, it's the wrong screen.
Yeah, I was about to tell you your stream. It's just you.
That, losing love for the game, it's much more dangerous than any injury. Because that will stop you more so than any injury. So, do I think Dustin Byfuglien will return? I don't think so.
Well, not only that, Dustin Byfuglien went through a lot last year, too. I don't even think it's that he's lost love for the game. I think the game has worn on him so much that he probably don't want to physically tax his body like he did last year. Last year, he had 2 bad ankle injuries and a concussion, and he only played 42 games because of it. I'm not surprised he didn't play this season. And as far as him coming back, I would say 90% chance he's not going to come back.
Yeah. RK, he says, hey guys, thanks for the show, and as always, go Pens. Hey, RK, thanks for joining us. And there's a lot of NHL coverage, there's a lot of Pens coverage, so make sure to subscribe. You know what, Jake? I had a Phil Kessel jersey, a Penguins Phil Kessel jersey.
Really?
I gained so much damn weight, it couldn't fit me anymore. So, one of my bosses, she really liked the Penguins, I gave it to her.
Oh, that's sweet.
I never got a thank you, oddly enough, but hey, whatever. Joe
What
says,
did she do? What did you do? You give it to her and she just grabbed it and walked away? Didn't
No,
even say
she
anything
wasn't
to you?
there. She wasn't there that day, so I kind of left it at the front desk. And I wrote a message to give it to her name. I'm not going to out her. And they said, yeah. So either she didn't thank me or she never received it in the first place.
Or she was secretly one of those Pens fans that hated Kessel on their team, which was a lot of them.
Yeah. Joe says, OMG, cherry to RDS. Yes, make it happen. Hashtag cherry to RDS. That would be so fucking hilarious.
He can't speak. I don't think that guy can speak a lick of French. I don't know
What
if
if he
that's
just...
going to happen.
Oh, dude, I would pay to just see him.
What are you saying? Can you please speak English?
Kids, what am I doing here surrounded by a bunch of French pinkaloos? And there's this guy, good old Ontario kid, and here I am surrounded by Quebecers. They're wearing visors left and right.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Monkey Fizz.
We speak English in this country.
Don Cherry banned from RDS for only speaking English.
D. Lynn says those older guys, or Monkey Fizz says Cherry should go to TVA. D. Lynn says those older guys are set in their ways, and as they get older, they couldn't care less what people think. Absolutely.
Amen to that.
Zachary Chacolt.
Like I said, he doesn't care. It's like, like when this first happened, I said, man, asked me in one sentence, sum up. I said, crazy old man saying crazy old man things.
Crazy old man things. You know what's my favorite Don Cherry moment of all time?
What?
I was waiting for that.
It was
What is
building
it?
up the anticipation here.
My favorite Don Cherry moment of all time. I'm going to recreate it in his voice. I'm going to do an impression. Because just saying it doesn't do it justice.
You guys are killing me with these Don Cherry impressions. I cannot do a Don Cherry impression for the life of me.
So I was down there in Red Deer, wherever it was, and I was sitting in the stand. I was watching the game. It's about the second period, and the puck, it flips up. The puck, it hits this poor lady in the face, gets her right in the face. Kids, when you come to the games, always keep your eyes on the puck, because I've seen some awful smacks, and it's always a woman yipping away there, eh? That was my favorite moment of all time.
That is a classic Don Cherry quote right there.
And then Ron McLean, he's like, what are you talking about? All fans, not just women. And Don Cherry's just like, come on. Look up you can find it on YouTube. It's hilarious.
or the best part is him pronouncing players' names wrong because he just doesn't care.
Dude, there is this half-hour long compilation of him screwing up players' names. And the way
What
the
is
video...
it called? Ekman Larson? What did he call
Pakayami.
He called
Pakayami's really good for Montreal. That's the best one. Pakayami is the best.
He called
for
Kotkaniemi Pakayani. He called Ekman Larson Lawsome Tossum.
No, I take that back. That's way better than Pakayami.
He goes,
Lost and toss, like when we were doing the draft, I was like, Matt was like, well, there's lost and toss them, and I was just like, I knew it.
What they should do, what some teams should do to control the NHL, pick a bunch of Russians and get Don Cherry to announce
Oh
them
my
at the
God.
draft.
Dude.
That would be
one of the compilations, it was Kuznetsov, and when the player names appears, I'm just like, oh fuck, he's gonna mess this up. He calls him Zakharov.
There's also him just commenting on where people are from in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a good Ontario boy over there.
Yeah.
Good Toronto boy. Good Ottawa boy. Good family. Good.
Yeah.
You don't hear him say about people from Quebec though.
I gotta say, oh man, I'm gonna make the Europe thing a soundbite. Europe, it's a nice place to visit, but stop sending us hockey players. Hold on. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, my one thing I'm really gonna miss. Oh my god, I missed Don already. It's when he would show the players walking to the dressing room, and they're all dressed in suits, and he's like, "Kids, this is how Canadians dress. We don't dress like you Americans." And then they like show Phil Kessel with a tracksuit and a toque, and then he's like, "No, Canadians, we dress better." And oh my god, like one thing I wish people would realize, he's not anti-immigrant. He, as ridiculous as it sounds, he's not anti-Europe. He's
just super Canadian.
Pro-Canadian.
Oh yeah.
This guy would take a bullet for Canada. I really mean it.
That dude bleeds maple syrup, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that. 100%.
God.
And
I think
Labatt
that's
Blue.
Diabetes. Labatt Blue.
Yeah, I bleed maple syrup now.
Where was I? Here we go. Zachary Hakolt says, how often do you guys do live streams? Jake and I, Jake's my usual co-host. I had Scott here as a kind of a special guest. We do a live show Mondays every 9 p.m. We usually talk about everything that was happening the past week. So, for example, what I had down for notes for this week, we're going to talk about Kaler Hall. We were going to talk about Mete. We were going to talk about a bunch of things. Now, this happened, the whole Don Cherry situation. I said it's a disservice if we only talk about it 20 minutes. One thing you guys need to know about me, when I do shows, when I do YouTube, first of all, I'm not the greatest guy alive. Far from it. I have zero talent compared to some people. But one thing I try to do is what we're doing right now. I have two buddies on. We're talking about it. We're talking about the situation. We're laughing. We go off topic. We talked about eating pussy. We went off topic. For me, it dulls down a show if we make segments. If we say, we're going to talk about this 10 minutes, then we're going to talk about... It's not my style. It really isn't, because I'm not an organized person. I think to do that, it's not bad. You just have to be really organized. I'm not that type of guy. I mean, look at my fucking table here. Does this look like an organized person to you? This looks like a serial killer's table.
Serial killers are kind of neat.
They are.
True.
They always put lotion on their skin.
No,
it puts the lotion on itself.
I know a good replacement for Don Cherry, the old talking Habs, but people they'll be in bed by the second period.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. I'm gonna say a secret. I knew Jake was gonna say that. I wasn't sure how Scott was gonna react, but let's just move on.
I kind of wanted to say, I was like, I kind of like threw it up there, threw up the Hail
You
Mary.
know who would be an even better replacement?
Who?
The hockey guy. He'd put you to sleep even sooner.
So guys,
I gotta listen.
before we go on with Coach's Corner, I just want to show you my jersey. This is the Buffalo Slug 2006 edition, Buffalo Sabres. I'm kind of glad they got rid of it. I know it doesn't go with my Dallas Stars hat, but hey, whatever. Jake.
And you forgot the like 10-minute description of his magnets, but hey.
I gotta check out this
My
guy.
wife sews, and I get her the magnets, and she glues the magnets. And this year we have 7 of this set, but next year we're hoping to have 9 of each one. What do you think? I'm like, man,
Is he Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys? That's the way you guys are making him sound.
He one thing though
That's questions are completely different to this guy.
is Scott. I told Jake, what did I tell you before I got Scott on the air?
You said you told me that you're friends with the Talking Habs fella, and
No,
that
not that part. Not that part. I said that Scott. Shut up. I'm talking. Habs.
Okay.
I said that Scott, he's a gem. Wait, actually, I didn't say it before. I told it to your face. I didn't even say it to Jake.
Yeah, I heard you say it.
No, because I think that I'm a rare breed here. I actually think, tying this back into Don Cherry, it's not really what you're saying. If you look at Talking Habs, Hockey Guy, no, he's double negative. If you look at Hockey Guy, I really think that he's an intelligent human being. He comprehends hockey on a level I'll never be able to. Partially is because I have to go to work, I have to do my internships, I don't have time to watch hockey. He knows his shit inside out. But what always made Don Cherry special for me is that his passion, his emotion, it came off in the way he spoke. And to the point where even where I fundamentally disagreed with some of his Toronto Maple Leafs views, with some of his views on, the Canadians, I couldn't hate the guy because the way he spoke was entertainment. You could not deny that no matter what he said, it was entertainment. And I would always take that over someone who knows his crap inside out, someone who knows the players, what facility they were born in, what hockey school they went to. I would take that any day over someone who knows their shit inside out, but can't convey it in a certain way. It's kind of weird when I say it because I'm almost saying I'd rather how they say it than what they're saying. I feel like I'm rambling, Scott.
As long as they know, as long as they somewhat know their shit, yes. Yeah. The thing about Don Cherry, you made a really good point. I basically said the same thing earlier. I was never a really big fan of Don Cherry, but it's the way he says things, and it's a certain style of him, like certain things, like the way he likes old school fighters, the way he isn't like one of these guys that are like babying players these days and saying if you like rub a player up against the boards, they should be suspended and stuff like that. I like his old school mentality that way. I don't like some of his biasness against Russians. I love his suits. There's certain things I love about Don Cherry. There's certain things I hate about Don Cherry. But there's one thing nobody can say about Don Cherry that isn't true. Don Cherry delivers every single time he's on Hockey Night in Canada. He speaks with passion. He speaks from the heart. And everything he says, he 100% believes. He ain't sugarcoating it for nobody else. He ain't sugarcoating it for a PC culture or whatever it is, social justice warriors, whatever you want to call them. He's speaking from the heart and he's speaking his mind. And obviously it came back to bite him in the ass, but he's been doing it for 30 years and getting away with it. And you got to respect the guy that way.
That's
I
a lot
agree
of
with
bite
his.
marks.
I actually agree with his Russian player comments because it just seems like these Russian players quit very easily.
Certain players I agree with, certain players I don't. Like there are some Russian players that he should have gave credit in certain situations, and he just, instead of giving them credit, he'd focus on like a lower tier Canadian player and give them the credit. And I'm like, man, this guy did this in this game. How are you not speaking about him? But because he's Russian, he don't want to speak about the good things he's done. But if he does something bad in the game, oh, Don Cherry will be all over it. Look at that Russian out there being lazy. Oh my God, brutal.
You know why? I'm kind of half because some of his earlier stuff, I think that long time ago, Russians, they were kind of lazy. I forget the guy's name, but apparently...
Well, you know who isn't giving Russians a good name right now? Ilya Kovalchuk. Have you guys seen that guy lately? You want to talk about lazy?
Oh, yeah.
He's fucking horrible.
I fucking hate Ilya Kovalchuk.
He is horrible in LA. I watched him play against the Habs the other night, and I can honestly say he was the worst player on the ice for LA. Turned the puck over every time he had it on his stick.
Yeah. He kind of looks like a koala. But what was I going to say is that I do think that in his, the 90s and the early 2000s, I do think that Russians kind of had a style of play that was nonchalant. I think that once Ovechkin came in the league, that kind of changed. But Don Cherry's bias sort of stuck. Because if you look at that playoff run that the Capitals had, they have players like Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Orlov. Did you just strangle your cat to death?
No. He was getting upset because I was holding him.
Okay.
He wanted me to hold him, and then I held him, and then he got upset, so he was yelling at me.
But the thing is, as I always say, it's not really that he's anti-Russia. It's that he's pro-Canadians. He knows that a lot of Canadians, they're listening to the show. What if he were to just talk about Russians? They would say, oh man, I don't have a chance. They wouldn't even try. He's trying to give hope to the Canadians. Moving on to the comments.
Well, it is called Hockey Night in Canada, so the base audience is the main audience is Canadians for sure.
Joe says, bit off topic, but have you seen Laval recently? They've been dominating. Lindgren got a shutout last game, I believe. Joe said...
Man, have you seen Primu in Laval? Primu's numbers are unreal. He has like a 940 save percentage and like an 8-0-1 record. So I haven't looked at his numbers recently, but the last time I checked, that was basically what his numbers were. That kid is fucking phenomenal, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Primo's the future. He says, Joe...
Josh Brook has been pretty shitty.
Yeah, a shit Brook. Joe says, I will say this, might come off as random, but I believe Noah Juleson has transformed from a two-way defenseman to a defensive defenseman. I guess it's his injury that's making him play a safer style. True, and there's nothing wrong with being a defensive defenseman. Hey, in the future you can pair him with Mete, someone who's has more of an offensive flair.
Well, his numbers don't really reflect the guy who's a two-way defenseman anyways. He only has like 5 points in like the 20-odd career, or like 3 points or something like that in like the 20 games he played in 2017, and he only has like 5 points in the 20 games he played in 2018.
Yeah. RK says, no Pens fan hated Kessel. He was very well loved here. Zachary Hakolt says,
I know a few that didn't like him. My uncle's a diehard Pens fan, and he hated Kessel. Was pumped when he got traded.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Apparently, Kessel loved soda, and he would constantly ask the trainers for soda. And one day, apparently, this is all rumors, but they ran out of soda, and he threw a temper tantrum on the bench. It's stories like that make me laugh. Zachary,
I just picture him like looking like Cartman, like God damn it.
That's kind of the image I had in my head too. Just Kessel there, all pissed off with his hot dog and no soda. Like what the fuck?
It's like Phil. We have fruit punch. I want Coke.
Zachary Hakolt says, how high do you think the ceiling is for Suzuki? It's 9 p.m. in BC. I mean Ontario. Suzuki.
Probably, who the fuck is Suzuki? Because he isn't a Habs fan, right? So he's not going to know as much about the Habs as us.
Suzuki.
I'm assuming.
Suzuki. Yeah, no. Listen. Suzuki has come up plenty of times on this show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jake, you know Suzuki because you know that Canadian hippie who made the cars? That's his nephew. Suzuki, for me, he's a 70 to 80 point guy easily. His vision is unprecedented. That's for me. Joe says it's true. Serial killers love to have Budweiser red lights on their tables. you know what I realized?
Every time they get a kill, it goes off.
Yeah.
That's his trophy. Yeah.
I realized I put it for decoration. I ended up putting it because I kind of lean my hand. It gives me something to lean on when I talk. And I don't know, it makes it feel comfortable.
You need something phallus-shaped in your hand to talk.
Yeah. I mean, if that was the case, I would just put my hand down my pants. Mr. Monkey Fizz says, I hope he's watching Talking Habs. He says, bring Steve Dangle to Coach's Corner. I don't know how you would call it Coach's Corner, though, because, I don't know, last time I checked, he's not a coach. It would have to be a Toronto Corner, or, I don't know, Toronto fan corner. Joe says, I like the hockey guy, but I think he talks too much about jerseys. Way too much.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You can finish what you were saying.
It's like, I don't care about your 80-something jerseys. So, what that the one you're wearing has a freaking yellow line on it, LOL. Yeah. What were you saying, Scott?
No, I said I was gonna like the hockey guys. I don't like his jerseys and videos and all that stuff. I don't like the hockey guy's delivery. Like he is really lame the way he says certain things, and he can almost put you to sleep when like his power rankings. He shows no excitement in his power rankings for the teams. He likes Dallas and he likes Boston. If Boston or Dallas is doing really well and they jump high in the power rankings, he shows no excitement. He's like, oh, Dallas is up this week. Good for Dallas. Like, the thing I like about the hockey guy that keeps me as a subscriber to his channel is he reports on every little thing that happens in the NHL. And the guy must literally sit by his phone and watch hockey and wait for hockey news all day because he'll break it before Sportsnet breaks it. There's so many things I've learned from his channel that, like, I've seen it on the hockey guy's channel before, and I'll see it on TSN or before I'll see it online. He breaks every bit of news. He knows his stuff. One thing about the hockey guy, he got so much hockey knowledge, it's insane. But his delivery is just, dude, like
that dude looks like he has hookers in his basement.
They're hiding under the jerseys.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Where's this guy from?
He's from Newfoundland, and then he moved to Vancouver, I believe. And I believe he was raised in Edmonton, or raised in Alberta, excuse me.
Oh, okay.
Or
Damn,
BC.
You fucking doing a made-for-TV movie on him?
No, he explains it all in his videos. There's been like 10 separate times where he'll deviate and be like, well, my family's from Newfoundland, but the reason why I like the Canucks is because we moved to Vancouver. And then we lived in Alberta for a bit, and he's like literally given his whole life story in multiple videos.
Do you think his wife ever walks in on him and he's like humping a huge pile of jerseys? Do you think that ever happens? But yeah, dude, you hit it on the nail. He is such a wealth of information. I think he's very good.
I'm gonna check him out.
He's not the type I would watch to be entertained, quote unquote. You know the guy called Gravity?
Gravity or something. Yeah, I know exactly.
Gravitesh. He's a guy that he talks. He's passionate. He's entertaining. I feel one of the biggest sins. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect because I also am not perfect. One of the biggest sins you can do as a sports entertainer is not entertain. I once heard someone review a comedy. He said one of the biggest sins a comedy movie can do is not make you laugh. It could have good acting. It could have good story, a good script, good cinematography, good lighting on the cameras. If it doesn't make you laugh, you failed as a comedy. That was the sole purpose. It's a little bit the same for me. I said it. If you were to survey everyone on YouTube doing hockey shows, they would all say Talking Habs was... fuck. Why do I keep getting them...
Man, you guys are...
Freudian slip.
Oh my god. Talking Habs was my inspiration. What to avoid. No, they would say the hockey guy was my inspiration. The hockey guy is my inspiration.
Our inspiration comes from the show that we were on now, so...
Yeah. And my inspiration, I said it, with all due respect to hockey guy, I'll never be as successful as him. I'll never be as intelligent as him. I respect him, the fact that he built such a big following. My inspiration has always been Don Cherry. Because, like I said, he doesn't come off as smart. He stumbles on his words. He mispronounces names. He yells. But the passion... that's what really hooks people. I mean, you could say the most intelligent, hot take in the universe. If you don't have the entertainment factor to grab onto the audience, they won't even get to it. They'll click the video, they'll exit before they even get to it.
Another guy who got a lot of fans due to his passion and not so well, he does know his stuff too, is Pierre Maguire. Like Pierre Maguire, I'm not a fan of him myself personally, but there's so many people who are fans of that guy because of his delivery, because of his passion, because he doesn't mind speaking his mind and saying what he says. So he's another good example of that too.
Him and Dustin Bufflin should do Coach's Corner.
That would be pure gold.
Yeah. Oh, but I hate to say it. I know you're joking, but Dustin Bufflin, he would never, ever have a career in sports entertainment because I heard a lot of people say he hated interviews. He hated the camera with a passion.
I can understand because of the Pierre Maguire interview with him was just creepy. I'd be afraid every time I saw a guy with a microphone and a camera.
I never seen that one. I gotta check that out.
Oh God, it is classic. He goes like he gets done asking him a question about like before he goes into the locker room, and then he just creepily goes, Dustin Bufflin.
Man, another weird Pierre Maguire one is the one with Phil Kessel where he's like, "How's your breath?" And he's like, "Hey, it's bad. Is it? Is that fucking bad?" Is he's like, "No, I mean your like cardio." It was so awkward. And oh my god,
Dude.
it was funny. It was so cringy. It was hilarious.
There's also a compilation of just of Pierre Maguire fails.
Yeah, number
Well,
one.
I know Don Cherry inspired Matt to talk about hockey, but right now Jake has inspired me to watch a Pierre Maguire compilation.
The worst Pierre Maguire moment is when he's on the trade deadline special, and he's standing next to this really tall analyst, and they're talking about Hal Gill, and then the other guy, Darren Dreger, or not Darren Dreger, I forget his name, sorry. The other analyst, he goes, "Oh, well, Hal Gill, he's a good stay-at-home defenseman. He plays good defense. He has that really long active stick. He does a lot of poke checks with his active stick. He's a defenseman with a really long stick." Then Pierre Maguire turns to him, he's like, "You're a sports analyst with a really long stick." And the guy goes, he's just like, and laughs nervously.
I kind of think that Pierre might be trolling to the point where, like, he's just like he loves just saying shit like that.
You know what? I know Jake doesn't, or Chaz. Scotty, do you watch Spitting Chicklets?
Spitting Chicklets? No, I've never seen it. What is it about?
It's a hockey podcast with two ex-hockey players. But it's good in the sense that it's like what I said. They're very energetic. They're not boring whatsoever. They do jokes. They're funny. And what's good is that since they're ex-NHL players, they have a lot of connections in the business. And we get to hear a lot of interview with those players. And Canadians fans, they've done interviews with Brendan Gallagher. They've done interviews with Nate Thompson most recently. Very interesting. But the reason why I bring them up is because they had this old player. Jake, do you remember Sean Burke?
Yeah, he used to be the goalie for like
Phoenix.
Arizona, New Jersey, the Whalers.
He was actually a good goalie. to be
He
honest.
was good, yeah.
Yeah, well, they interviewed him, and I don't know if Sean Burke worked in the TV business after his career, but somehow, somewhere, he crossed wires with Don Cherry, and he got to know Don Cherry, and he said he's one of the oddest characters he's ever met. He said that Don Cherry, he'd take a piece of paper, and he'd write the player's name, and then under it, he would write the player's name, and purposely, he'd miswrite it. He would write it wrong so that he pronounces it wrong. So I do think there's a little aspect of him trolling all of us. That's why I love Don Cherry. D. Lynn says, "Go Bruins! Go Bruins!" What about that Brad Marchand licking up a storm? Zachary Colt says, "No, Habs."
Lick the ice clean with them, Brad.
Yeah. Do you see that fight he had with Hronix? He got a few licks in. D. Linz, he says, "Me too. I can't stand Ilz Kovalchuk." Kovalchuk can throw it, by the way, talking about fights.
I've never ever seen Kovalchuk fight. I've honestly never seen Kovalchuk fight.
I never seen him fight either.
Back in his prime days, Kovalchuk was a beast. I thought he was going to be like an Ovechkin type player.
Yeah.
But this version of Kovalchuk, the Kovalchuk I seen play against Montreal in the last game against LA, man, he fucking sucks. Well, what I seen, he sucks.
He's old now.
He's
old, but it's not just that he's old. It's just he's
not a team player.
He gets the puck and he gets the puck stripped off him, and he's like Drouin last year. He just looks like he's floating around out there at certain points.
Yeah.
Going by one sample too.
Yeah. Yeah, you can add that to the Pierre Maguire thing. Look up Kovalchuk versus Braden Shen. Kovalchuk, I've never seen someone with that type of strength. I mean, granted, he's fighting Braden Shen. He's no Brian McGrattan, but He takes Shen, he twists him around like he's a piece of steak. He twists him around, he tosses the jersey over him, and knocks him with this uppercut. It TKO'd him. You can search it out. Kovalchuk versus Braden Shen. RK, we're gonna go for a few last minutes. RK says, I agree with Chaz.
I gotta answer Joe's question about Mackenzie Blackwood.
Did I skip it?
He's in there. He wanted to know do you think he's the saving grace? Right now, he better be. They did trade for a guy in the AHL. I can't remember his name exactly, but he was up and down in the Tampa system for a couple years. So I kind of think the writing's on the wall with Corey Schneider, because Corey Schneider has been awful. I thought he couldn't be any more awful than he was last season, but he did an old hold my beer type thing.
Yeah, Schneider doesn't have a win yet, does he? I don't believe Schneider has a win.
No.
I believe he has like
No.
5 stars
What?
and no wins.
He has no
He
win?
doesn't have, because I was doing
No win.
I was doing my own power rankings video, and I was like placing New Jersey, and I was looking at the goaltender stats.
I need to see
And Blackwood only has
Who's
like a
hitting their
couple wins, and
microphone?
Schneider has no wins.
Are you having sex with your microphone, Scott?
No, I dropped it. My elbow hit it.
Oh, okay, that's you. I thought that was me.
No.
Okay. What were we talking about? What were we talking about?
Mackenzie Blackwood.
The redhead, Corey Schneider. He doesn't
Yeah.
have a win yet?
No.
He was a good goalie in Vancouver in his first little while in New Jersey, but the end of last year and the beginning of this year, it ain't looking very good for him. Mackenzie Blackwood is a good young goalie, though, for sure. I like his play.
I'm looking at his fantasy rank. He's 649.
And I drafted him.
How's your team doing, Scott? I don't think you're too
My
bad.
team, I believe, is 5th in your league or something like that.
Yeah. I beat my dad by 2
Man,
points.
I lost to some guy. His what's his name? Your mom is a hoe. I lost to him by
fake.
20 points last night.
That's me.
20 fucking points, man.
That's
Goddamn
me.
Cam Fowler. Goddamn you, Cam Fowler. I was watching that flat out, being like, I'm going to beat this guy. I got a little lead. And all of a
Dude.
sudden, John Gibson and Cam Fowler were our 2 last players left. Gibson sucked and Fowler played well, and I lost by fucking .20, man. How rough is that?
You realize you only needed Cam Fowler to give a hit or do a shot on net, and you would have won.
I know. That's I'm like, what the fuck? No, I had Gibson. I need Gibson to play better. Jake had Fowler.
Yeah. Who's hitting the?
I don't have Fowler.
Scotty, is your microphone attached to your headset?
No, my microphone's right in front of me. I could be shaking my desk though. My bad.
You're shaking it like a young boy shaking his penis for the first time.
Hey, you don't want to know what I'm doing under this desk.
Why do you think I bought high tables? RK says, I love Pierre Maguire. Johnny B says, spitting chicks biz nasty with Terry Ryan and his dad in Newfoundland is fucking
Shout
funny.
out Terry Ryan, legend here in Newfoundland.
Dude, that special was hilarious. The best part is Bissonnette, his nickname is Biss Nasty, and the old guy, Terry Sr., he kept calling him Mick Nasty. 5 seconds after he explains his nickname, he's like, they call me Biz Nasty. He's like, oh, Mick Nasty. Nice to meet you. Zachary Hacolt says, thoughts on PK's career thus far? Ooh, good question. Because we are 3 people that we've all had PK Subban on our team.
Well, he's currently a New Jersey fan, so you should probably let Jake take this one because I haven't seen a lot of him this season.
Take it, Chaz.
And his career total. I mean, I'm gonna say he's a good player. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't, unless he gets the hardware. I mean, I know he has a Norris Trophy, but get a cup.
Instagram Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and the YouTube Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
So,
Did you see those videos?
so I've seen some of them.
I've heard some crazy things about his workout video. I don't go on Instagram a lot. I'm more of a Twitter person, but I've heard some crazy things about PK Subban's workouts that are ridiculous.
You know
what he's doing like a normal person wouldn't do. It looks stupid. I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot about it.
Oh,
Tim and Sid were trolling him on Tim and Sid, actually.
Really? Can you send me the link?
Well, it's a Tim and Sid episode where they're just talking about
okay.
Subban. They're like, "Well, nobody works out like Subban. Have you seen his Instagram?" And then they like laugh, like they chuckle about it and say, make a little off comment
Well, do they say that in a positive way or a negative?
in like a negative way, in like a funny way, like
They're
making
saying
fun
his
of him.
technique is wrong.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, whatever the technique is, I would like to have a body like his, so I hope he teaches me. Did you realize, Jake, when Subban was first in Montreal, he was never skinny per se, but he was much, much, much leaner. Right now, you look at him, he's like a power lifter, a bodybuilder.
Oh yeah.
When he was first in Montreal, he was zooming up and down the ice. And
You
now,
know, you know, who he,
and-
you know who he looked like when he first came into the league? Eddie Winslow from Family Matters.
I'm sure he did.
Eddie
I don't know
Winslow.
who that is.
I can
Right.
see. Man, you don't remember Eddie Winslow from Family Matters? Kyle
Probably
Winslow,
wasn't
Walter
born.
Winslow.
He wasn't born.
Let me see.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
He's young. He's young.
Yeah, I remember Eddie
he
well, and
looks nothing like him.
definitely see the comparison.
He looks nothing like him. Maybe
looked him up?
Oh, okay, I see it right here.
You see,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. You see, I saw it. When I first saw PK, I was like, yeah, he looks like Eddie Winslow.
I saw a girl on a Colgate commercial. She fucking looked like PK Subban. It looked like Subban with a wig.
That one you showed with the plaid shirt, that's spot on Subban right there.
Yeah, guys, keep talking. I'm actually gonna try to find it. It was some
I'm looking at the
toothbrush or
question.
toothpaste.
Joe says there's a possible possible LH and New Jersey trade with Schneider and Quick maybe at
Yeah,
one.
I read that. I read that. What's it called? That rumor too. I don't know.
I found
Man.
it.
So far, just a rumor.
I found
Okay.
it.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay, there's gonna be a delay for you guys to see it. Okay, don't call me
right.
racist. Does this not look like PK Subban in drag?
I can't see it yet.
I can't wait.
It's gonna come
I'm waiting
up.
for it to pop up.
Yeah.
They have the same eyebrows. They obviously have the same hair. They have the same smile. It's Oral-B. It's not Colgate. Don't you guys see
Oh
it?
my god.
That face and put fake hair on his head.
That's PK.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, we're not saying that she is an attractive girl. She is a very attractive girl. It just goes to show that PK would be a very attractive woman.
Dude,
Huh?
if I were PK, I'd want to have kids with her because that way I'm going to be sure my kids are going to look like me.
No, you don't do that because they might be related.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I cannot find her attractive.
The one where she's looking at the toothbrush. It's like I have a feeling that's how he's gonna be looking at the fans in New Jersey if he doesn't if they don't start stringing together some wins.
Oh, God.
He isn't helping with 5 points.
Okay,
Yeah.
three last questions here. Okay, let's see. Okay, Joe. Just thoughts of something. What if one of the NHL teams hires Don? That would be interesting. Sort of
He's
think
too
his
old.
coaching career. Yeah. Zachary
Yeah.
Hacolt says, "Who do you think?" Okay, this is more so a question for Scotty and I. Who do you think the top 5 prospects for Montreal are? Scotty, if you have to fire them out quickly, who do you think?
Fire him out right quickly. For me, 100% right now, number 1 prospect is Cole Caulfield. Number 2, well, would you consider Nick Suzuki and Ryan Poehling prospects
Well,
still?
there's no like dictionary definition, so let's just say players under 23.
Okay, players under 23, for sure. Cole Caulfield, number 1. Nick Suzuki, number 2. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, number 3. Ryan Poehling, number 4. And hands down, Caden Premu, at number 5. And just below him, Romanoff, because Romanoff's looking like he's going to be an effective NHL player someday.
Yeah. Okay. First, Caulfield. Second, Suzuki. Third. Poehling. Fourth, Premu. Tied for 5 and 6, is Kotkaniemi and Romanov. Did I say him?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've said him?
No, we haven't said him. No, I
Okay.
thought you were wondering if that was. I thought you were asking me, was that the name? Yeah.
There
yeah.
you are. So 1 Caulfield, 2 Suzuki, 3 Paling, 4
At Premu.
Primu, 5 Kotkaniemi, and tied for 6 and 5 is Romanov.
I got you calling him Premu now too.
Yeah. Guys, if you like the Canadians, I'm gonna have a lot of Canadians content coming up. I'm gonna start live streams where you guys can send in questions. I don't know if I'm gonna call it podcast or not. For the moment, it's gonna be a live stream. I'm sure that Scott's gonna make a few appearances here and there. He's
Oh, sure. I was literally just about to say if you ever need me to appear on any of your
dude.
Canadians live streams and I'm not working and I'm free, I'm 100% down.
you don't have to ask because I was gonna ask you anyway. I think you're entertaining. So there you have it. That was our Don Cherry special. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's kind of a somber topic for me, I got to admit, but I think I still had pretty much fun. What about you guys? You guys had such fun?
It was,
Yeah,
it was excellent. Yeah, I love talking about Don Cherry. It just sucks that he got fired from Hockey Night in Canada.
Yeah, it sucks that he got fired, guys. And there's a petition that's going around on Facebook. I'm sure if you just Google it, you could find it. I don't think it'd hurt to sign it. I mean, there's nothing illegal about petitions. Yeah, and in conclusion, stop watching Sportsnet. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Make sure to subscribe to oh, God damn it. Why is he on my brain?
You're definitely getting him a few subs.
Plug yourself.
Subscribe to me at Scotty2Hockey. Check me out at Scotty2Hockey on Twitter. And I also released a Don Cherry video today, too, and a Nick Suzuki video for you Habs fans. So check me out for sure if you can.
Check him out. I'll link it in the description.
I just noticed that you got Jake's name is Chaz Bono. I was like, what the fuck?
You
I
just
thought it
realized
said
that?
Boner
Like,
for a second. I was like, what does he have that name as? I had to look closely.
he asked me. I didn't know what he was setting up the show. He goes, how do you spell Chaz? And I was like, Chaz. And I'm like, you calling me Chaz Bono? Because here's the story. My dad called me frantically one day, and like over and over, my phone was ringing, and I answer my phone, and I go, hey, what's up, Dad? And he goes, hey, I just wanted to tell you that you look like Chaz Bono.
That's hilarious.
The
My
fact
dad,
that he's
my dad
calling-
once told me I look like Steven Stamkos. I was like, what the fuck?
I see it.
I see
I
it,
can see
yeah.
it.
My dad once told me I look like a faggot. Jake, the fact that your phone was ringing
that-
frantically because he had to just tell you that. Jesus.
Well, you know who my dad looked like? He looked like a skinnier version of Rob Ryan. If you're a football fan, Google Rob Ryan. He
Rex
used
Ryan's
to-
brother, I know who he is.
Yes, because and my dad also said I look like Rex Ryan, and then I kid you not, my dad looked like a skinnier version of Rob Ryan.
Nice. All right.
So basically, Rex Ryan with long hair and skinny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that's it for the show today, guys. I appreciate all of you. RK, Zachary Huckolt, new name there in the crowd. Nice to see you. Joe, as usual, nice to have you, buddy, Joe. Hope things go better with your girlfriends. RKG
Yeah,
Lins,
good luck with the lady troubles, Joe.
Mr.
Yeah.
Monkey Fizz. Thank you all of you for joining us. As I said, on behalf of Chaz, on behalf of Scotty, my name is Matt. This is the Sin Bin. Keep your stick on the ice.